viewers? Patrick from Bible Verses Only, back with Narrative Venus, episode number 5 of Birth of Jesus Week on Bible Verses of the Day. And today's verse comes out of John 14, verse 27, and it says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." And that's what that verse means. So it's time for the Royal Rangers recap. And so since I didn't attend church last night due to a game, I'm going to read you the rest of Chapter 3 of Rob's book, The Road Home, God's Plan for Christian Growth. So this section is talking about the prodigal son. Here's what it says. Jesus' story of the prodigal son dramatically pictures one man's repentance from the deluded quest to find himself in the trinkets of the world. Although the story of his return to his father is a common subject of sermons and Bible studies, a mystery in the story seldom receives the attention it deserves. As the story begins, the younger of two sons demands. This is in Luke 15:12. "Father, give me the share of property that is coming to me." It is as though the son says, "Dad, I can't wait for you to die. I want my money now." Hearing this impudence, Jesus' first century audience, for whom honor of father and mother is very important, grasp indignantly. They imagine what stinging reply the father should make to such an insolent demand. Yet surprisingly, the father does not object. Instead, he simply divides his property and hands over the money. Why does the father not resist? The father's silence surely raises eyebrows among Jesus' listeners. What goes on here? The surprise increases when the father does not rebuke the boy's folly upon his return home. His son comes home from his reckless plunge into self-indulgence, penniless, and in stinging rags. But the father is wild with delight. He immediately gives the boy marks of sonship, robe, ring, sandals, and throws a celebratory party. What is he thinking? The father quietly grants his son demand and later celebrates joyously when the son returns. He does both for the same reason. What matters to him most is his relationship with his sons. His pursuit of that relationship prompts his silence when his son demands his share of the family's fortune. What logic guides the father here? The son's unwillingness to wait for a funeral shows the father his son's determination to follow his own desires. The father sees that the son in his heart has already left home. Of course, the father could restrain his son by refusing to grant such a narcissistic request, but what would that accomplish? The son's body would be on the farm, but his heart and mind would wander the earth, longing to fulfill his desire far away from his father's house. The father recognizes that the only hope his son will come home in his heart is to release him to follow his own road. Father and son have one chance for a lasting relationship. The son must discover the futility of independence and willingly return to the father. He must discover for himself that the answer to his heart's desire is not out in the world, beyond the borders of his father's farm. Otherwise, he will never be truly present in his father's house or at his father's table, even if he is physically there. The father wants a close bond with his sons, but his motive is not selfish enjoyment of their company. He knows they will find what they most need with him. A more perceptive younger son might have realized the depth of his father's care when his father quietly hands him a fortune. Sadly, blinded by his belief, he will find himself through all the world offers. He cannot see how his father values him. The good news is that the father's love finally breaks out to him when the son returns home. He makes the discovery of a lifetime, whether a hard-working contributor to the farm or a broken, ragged shell of his former self. He is and always will be his father's son. He always has a place at his father's table. That truth defines him. He needs nothing else to know who he is. To look elsewhere would be to blind himself to his true identity. If you know Jesus Christ, God is your Father, that is foundational to the Christian life. Understanding how to make the journey between our entry into God's family and the fulfillment of our destiny grows from trust in this relationship. When we disconnect from it, we inevitably try to find ourselves in all the wrong places. Unbelievers are not the only ones who do so. Christians also wonder. I certainly have. Though we might not realize it, in these misdirected efforts to find who we are or to satisfy our deepest desire, we are seeking our Father, like distorted shadows separated from their source, and searching for their true form. We are all looking for our Creator. Growth toward our original destiny as human beings begins when we realize this truth. Repentance is the starting point, and we continue to grow as we abandon self seeking independence and embrace our Father's fellowship. The journey ends with an undivided heart. When we have finally returned to our Father's table and become entirely present with Him. So I'll read more of that tomorrow. And the verse to leave you with today in Hebrews 10:23 it says, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful." And that's going to be the video. Thanks for watching. And it's next time again, viewers. In every way, God's way is always the best way.